Here's Johnny.
Welcome to my nightmare.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Come and play with us, Daddy.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Fear Freaks Podcast. My name's Braden.
I'm Destiny.
And we are the Fear Freaks. Got a really exciting show here tonight, but I think every week with us is exciting. So, I don't know. That's just kind of like what I like to think, that everyone has a good time with us. And, maybe not. Maybe I could be wrong, but I have a fun time here every single week. And, I don't know. Destiny, where the heck you going? What's going on? What are you doing?
My AC was being loud, so I had to slap it.
Gotcha. Well, welcome in tonight, everyone. I hope that you guys are having a great week. It's Wednesday. It is the middle of the week. Destiny and I were talking during our pre-show. It sounds like she's ready for the weekend. Why are you ready for the weekend, Destiny? What's going on? Just a long week, or got anything exciting coming up?
No, nothing exciting. I just like to sit at home.
Yeah. The relaxation is nice. That is for dang sure. But alrighty, let's just get right into it tonight. Let's get right into it. Destiny, what is within your world of horror this week? I know you had to get up and you had to go get something. What did you bring back? What did you get this week?
Okay, well, first, the only movie that I watched that was like a horror movie, I watched Watcher last night. It's on Shudder. Has Micah Monroe. It was really good. I've heard
really good things about that, actually.
I really liked it. I love, even though like thrillers make me so fucking anxious, like I had to pause it a couple times to like chill out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I would say it's pretty tense. I love movies that are, I'm not saying it's like similar to like Disturbia or Rear Window, but in a way it is a little bit. And I love movies like that. I fucking love those. But stuff that I got, which Brett actually sent me this, quite a few things. I got some new VHS tapes, which I'm excited about. 28 Days Later.
Ooh, nice.
Excited for that. Eight-Legged Freaks.
I love Eight-Legged Freaks.
Salem's Lot.
Okay.
Escape from LA, which I have not seen this. Or
I've never
Escape
seen
from
that
New York.
either.
I need to. I want to.
Yeah, I've never seen Escape from LA.
Firestarter. Poltergeist 3. This Elvira 2 tape set. It has 2 movies, which is pretty cool. Oh god, I'm almost done. Kind of fitting. Got a little Pennywise.
Oh, very nice.
And another Pennywise.
Oh, nice.
And then I got She's All That on VHS, but that's not horror, but I got She's All That as well.
Oh, gotcha. Well, hey, you got a huge collection this week, it seems like. So hopefully you find a spot for all that within your horror corner.
I won't. I will not. But
oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, I mean, that's all good. I got to say, I think my favorite out of all those that you got, I love Eight-Legged Freaks. I mean, Eight-Legged Freaks is like one of those like that I just like grew up with. And even though I'm absolutely deadly, we all know this already, deadly terrified of spiders, but I do really enjoy Eight-Legged Freaks a lot as a movie. I mean, David Arquette, always likable presence and whatnot. So, the movie also has fucking Scarlett Johansson in it too. Like, I mean, which I didn't even realize that was her until like one day. I think I was like rewatching it and I was like, is that fucking Scarlett Johansson? And it is.
Is that freaking Scarlett Johansson right now?
It's freaking her. Yeah, I know her nowadays from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I know her. But that, I mean, hey, you got a lot going on in yours, but I mean, within mine, really nothing. I mean, there's a whole lot of nothing going on in my world of horror this week. The scariest thing for me was I drove across country and made it to Arizona successfully. Live here now, so I officially am a West Coaster. I've been getting used to the hot heat. Like, it's been 102 at least every single day. So, I think yesterday it was 106 outside. Let's fucking get it. So I'm almost wondering if I'm going to be like one of those people now that like go back and visit Chicago, like even when it gets like to 40 degrees. And I'm like,
it's so cold.
It's so cold.
But what's crazy is whenever the other night when we're talking about like the temperature there and here, our temperatures are basically the same when it came to what it felt like outside, because you have dry heat, I have really humid heat. Yours is way higher. Yours is like almost 100. Mine is like 89 because it was raining, and we still kind of evened out the same. So I feel you. It's fucking disgusting.
I mean, it's also, you guys got like a lot of humidity out there and everything.
So
like,
much.
I mean, yeah, like here it's the dry. I would honestly prefer the dry heat over the humidity. Like, because I mean, at least outside, like it feels like it would be in Texas, like if it was humid. But yeah, like I can take that. But yeah, Arizona's super nice so far. It hasn't really hit me yet. Like I've only been here like since Saturday, you know, and the first couple days, like I will say, Abby and I, we were driving, we almost died going down this mountain because we literally, like, that's in my world of horror, like right there. She was driving. Okay, that's the first thing. And then I literally was like about to put my head down. Like, I'm like, hey, like, she was like, hey, you look tired. Like, why don't you like put your head down for a nap? And I was like, okay, sure. So I put I like put my seat back, put like the neck pillow on. I shut my eyes, literally not even 8 minutes go by and a giant storm hits. I'm talking, it's hailing, like lightning, like there was lightning, and we're on a mountain right now. So we're like above, like we're in like the clouds pretty much. And like, we're so close to the sky and you just see lightning, like, you know, striking trees and everything. And I was like, oh, like, you know, this is crazy. So we made it. Like, we had to pull over to the side of the road for like at least, and it was us and a whole bunch of other cars. We had to pull over. My parents are in front of us, like with like the big moving truck and everything. And yeah, it was that was pretty scary. So I did almost die this week, but you know, hey, there was that.
Still here.
Yep, still here. Still lucky enough to be around. So you guys get to deal with me for another week. But let's say hi to our guests here tonight. Let's see who we got here in the chat. We got Lamontre Gillard, what's going on? How you doing? Brandon, getting us into the mood. They all float. I float a lot. Goodreal says, have a great show tonight. I'll watch the replay tomorrow. Got some cabin fever on Fauci Cinema. Well, Goodreal, Brettman, you have a great time. Have some fun with cabin fever. See you, Brettman. Then we've got Ashton here talking about my favorite horror movie. I do love it a lot. Brandon says, I rewatched The Night House literally a few minutes ago after hearing Destiny give it love on Back from the Dead. Such a great film. I haven't, isn't that the newer one? Is that newer?
Yeah, it came out last year.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's got Rebecca Hall, I think. Yeah, I love Rebecca Hall. I definitely got to give that a watch. Ashton also says that I watched Terrifier for the first time Monday. Yeah, I didn't get much sleep. Terrifier is good, and we already have that on our schedule for October. So, yeah. And then Denise, what's going on? She says that the hair look, guys love the hair look Destiny. I don't know why I couldn't read that for a second.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I will say, like, when you sent me that over the weekend, I was like, dang, like, I was like expecting, like, I was expecting something. I wasn't expecting that, but I like the look. It's definitely a good look.
Thank you. It looks a lot better than that first picture I sent you.
They are
still pretty long.
I will say they were definitely pretty long, but I mean, hey, they still look good, and it's different. I literally said, I'm like, you're bringing the '90s hairstyle literally right back.
Which I was going more for an '80s, so you said '90s, and I was like, but you know, it's fine.
No, I don't know. I just think that that's a hair look that might be more something that you see in like one of those like '90s slashers, like Scream, or you know, I know what you did last summer.
Much like Julie James, because she has like the bang and everything.
Yeah,
and, I see it.
Yeah, so that's where I got the '90s from. So you know, but I mean, I feel like that could also fit like late '80s, early '90s, like going into the '90s, you know. So yeah. I mean, you definitely are nailing the look. That's all I'll say.
Thank you.
But all right, let's get into our topic for tonight. We are talking about It, the 2017 remake, and I honestly wouldn't even really call this a remake because the 1990 was a miniseries. It was a TV miniseries that was on HBO and everything. So I wouldn't even really call this a remake. This is just the first film adaptation of It, Stephen King's book. And I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know how much I would be eager to see anything other than like the show that they have up and coming that has apparently been greenlit and is in development at HBO right now, the Welcome to Derry. I don't know if I would feel comfortable seeing a remake for this for a while.
Yeah.
Because this was one of my favorite 2017 theater experiences. I was so excited for this movie all year. I remember seeing the first teaser for it, and I was just amped out of my mind. And I read the book that summer, and then I was very excited to see how they were going to transition it onto screen. And from like what we got from the trailers, it looked like that it was mostly going to center on the young kids only. Because like the book, like you haven't read the book, right?
I read like the first maybe 100 pages. And that's
Okay.
It.
Okay. It is a
It's a big
beast
boy.
of a book. Yeah, it's a beast of a book. I'm like, it almost like, even like when you're going through like the first 100 pages, you're sitting here, you're like, God, like this man has this much to say about this thing. Like, I mean, it's crazy, but really great direction to take us on this journey with only the kids. Cause the book goes back and forth so much between it like transitions, like chapters will go from the adults and then the next chapter will be back to the kids. And sometimes it's even like mid chapter, it'll be like adult. And then it's like, there's like a flashback or something and it gets kind of wonky. So I do think that to do a film adaptation, to go the kid route and get us to really build connections with these kids, I thought it was brilliant. So Destiny, what do you think of it? Chapter 1, I guess I should say.
I absolutely love it. And I remember I actually did see this one in theaters. I feel like a lot of times I didn't go to the theaters, but I did see this one. And I've told this story before. This was like not a good day for me the day I went and saw it because I was with my ex and he called me a bitch for the first time and I was upset and he was a liar and so I was upset. So. Yeah. And then he said, get ready, we're going to go see it. Because we had kept trying to go, and we just never were able to. So I was like, fine, like, I really want to see this movie. So I'll go. And just being there in the theaters and, like, to not be focused on this guy literally right next to me and how much he sucks, I was able to watch this movie. And it just helped me for, like, the 2 hours. I was completely in a different world. And I was just here watching this movie. And I absolutely loved it. And because of that, it spawned pretty much like a hyperfixation. I was obsessed with the movie. I've seen it too many times to even count because it's like if I was ever upset, I would put on it. If I needed just some sort of comfort because he sucked, I would just watch it. And I did that for years. I would say up until like this year, it kind of like died down a little bit, but then getting ready to talk about, I was like, damn, I really do love this movie. Like, this movie is fucking awesome. It's just, it'll always have, like, a special place for me. And I'm really glad. See, this is, like, when people are like, it's just a movie. It's like, without certain movies, I don't know where, like, my day would have been so much shittier. And I wouldn't have had something to go to whenever I really needed some comfort from something. I wouldn't have had that if I never watched this movie. So I can't stand for like, well, it's only a movie. Like, yeah, it's only a movie. Don't fight each other about it. But it's not just a movie because these do mean a lot to people.
Yeah, it's a movie to a degree, you know? Like, yeah. I mean, sure, yeah, it's a movie, like in the sense of it being a movie. But I mean, people, they go to movies, like you said, for comfort, and they go to the theater to get into that world of escape. Like, we want to escape reality, which is why nowadays so many people have an issue going to see movies, because it's just like you want to get away from all the politics and the social bullshit that, you know, is within the world, but yet Hollywood likes to just throw all that back in our face while we're trying to sit down and enjoy a movie. With it, that's not the case, because I literally, there's like bare minimal issues I have with this movie. Like, if I can just like say something that I think is wrong with it at times, is the CGI, like for some of the creatures like that. I mean, like when you like look at like the egg boy and stuff like that, like when he comes down, just like the way he walks and stuff, like it looks a little funny. And the same thing with the flute lady from the picture that Stanley, you know, is with it when he's in the office. I mean, it's got great music, great tension building, but then it's like you see the CGI and you're just kind of like, I feel like they could, and I mean that's the same thing with Chapter 2. I think that the CGI is like, I feel like that if there's something wrong with both of these chapters, it's really just that. But other than that, I mean, Bill Skarsgård's makeup on Pennywise is fucking phenomenal. Like, I mean it. And then the story, it really is a story about friendship, and that's like what really makes, that's like the heart and soul of the movie. Because like I told you, I was rewatching it a little bit this afternoon until I got sidetracked, and there wasn't really a whole lot of Pennywise in it. And Pennywise obviously finds his way in to terrorize these kids and, you know, try and showcase what they're afraid of, to like make them afraid because he feeds off of their fear. But like at the center of everything, it's really about a group, and that's why when they joke and they like bicker back and forth, it's just so awesome to hear. It's like, this is almost like, it reminds me of like my kid, like childhood friends, like when I was like a kid. Like we would just give each other shit, we'd just be shooting shit, and then there was bullies and all this shit. Like, you know, it really is that, with like a side of this being that they figure out, because Pennywise really isn't in it until like the end of the second act, and then he is in it a lot in the third act. So it's like, it's kind of like they're building up with this thing, and I think that it's the right way to go.
Yeah, I would agree. Like you said, the CGI at times I think does look a little bit wonky, but besides that, there's nothing about this first chapter that I don't love. I love how it takes so long, kind of, we're getting used to these characters and seeing their dynamic, and for me, immediately, I love every character. I think I love movies like this. I was just talking about this not that long ago, where if it's like a kid group and you're following this kid group and they're like, you know, coming of age story between them and shit going wrong, I love that shit. And this movie, I think, has one of the best kid groups. And for so long after watching 2017 and we knew 2019 was coming out, I was obviously super fucking excited. And then one day it actually hit me. I was like, oh, wait, they're going to be older. And like, yeah, we did get flashbacks. And I was like, it's not going to be the same because they're not going to be following these kids. Because I love these kids so much. They are so believable. They cuss. Look, if we're doing movies like this, the kids have to cuss. Because most kids do cuss. And it's so fucking funny. Richie and Eddie, they are my favorite characters.
Oh my god!
I think they are the
so
fucking
good.
best, and them going back and forth together, the whole movie is so good. It is so funny. Each character is like different in their own right, and they each have their own personality. And I don't think, you know, one's like a carbon copy of the other. They're all different in their own right. And again, I love that because each character, you can resonate with each character in different ways. And I think that's just so important to connect with these kids because, like, this movie, like, yeah, Pennywise is the face of the movie, but like, this movie really, if these kid actors weren't good, if their relationships weren't good, their dynamic, whatever, if they weren't good, this movie would not be nearly as good as it is. I think we have to really give credit to the kid actors because they're all so amazing. And they bring so much to this movie. And they are the funniest part of this movie. They're amazing.
I agree. And I even like, you know, their introduction, like, because it's like, you get, like, the first thing that we see when this movie opens, it's like, it's pretty much, like, identical to, like, the book. Like, when, like, while it's not the opening, it's, like, within, like, the first, like, 20, 30 pages, you see what happens to Georgie. And it's, like, a rainy day in Derry. And he's sitting at home with Bill, and Bill's making him his little paper boat, the SS Georgie, and everything. And, you know, you could see how much of a relationship these brothers have together. And I think that it's like, but you know, even if you see the trailer, it's like, you know, Georgie's about to go outside. He's going to be playing with the boat, and because he wants to see it sail, you know, down like the sidewalk and everything. And so takes it out, and he encounters Pennywise. And so it's like, it's almost like as an audience going into a movie like this, having seen a trailer for a movie like this, you have to brace yourself. You have to like be like, okay, it's like, we know what's up and coming. And it's like, you know, if you've read the book, you know exactly how this plays out. And Georgie doesn't make it out alive. So, but can we just like talk about like the introduction to Pennywise in this movie? It's fucking awesome. Just like I love the color palette on it. Like I just like the gloomy look, and I know it's raining outside, but the color palette that they went with, and even just like with how when we meet Pennywise, it's like his eyes are Bill Skarsgård's blue eyes, like, you know, and it's like, and I just think that the whole look of it in the sewer, like, yeah, while it's creepy, it's like he's so good that it's almost like he's doing his job, because it's like, oh well, this clown he wants to be Georgie's friend, you know, and he's being super nice, and as the conversation kind of continues, it just gets more and more creepy. He's like, there's peanuts, cotton candy, like, you know, I'm just like,
and popcorn.
Yeah.
They
Is
pop.
that your favorite? Yeah.
I
Right.
love the introduction because
Yeah.
it's so good. Because like immediately, like I was transfixed. I was like, oh my god. Because I remember that night we went and saw it. 2 girls from work, they came out. They're like, oh my god, the little boy dies in like the opening. So be prepared. I was like, well, yeah, like that's what happens in the mini series as well. Like I know Georgie's not making it out alive with this. That's the whole set off of the story. But I was like, yeah, no, but like, yeah, it was pretty gruesome, and the whole introduction is so great because he has this like piercing blue eyes, and he seems so inviting, and that's the whole point, is to be inviting for what he's going to do. And in that moment when they're laughing and he's doing like the pop 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 pop, and then it stops, and his eyes are all of a sudden there's like no joy, it just drops, and Georgie feels it, and he's like, I have to go now, and he does not make it. And when his eyes do that, because like, which are his real eyes, I think at this point they're yellow, which obviously those aren't his real eyes, but the way he can like move them out, like drop them and let them roll, those were his real eyes, which again, talented as fuck, because I don't know how the fuck he could do that.
Yeah.
The CGI mouth, it's a little hokey when it like bites down and it's like onto him, but you know, Georgie loses an arm, and it's so sad seeing him crawl away, and he gets so far, and then you just see the arm extend out, grab, he yells, and it's so sad. And then there's just like that blood stain, and that old lady walks out, and she's like, she knows something just fucking happened.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way she doesn't.
Yeah.
These
Like,
motherfuckers know.
yeah, like, I mean, it's just like the way that the adults in this movie are just so oblivious to everything that's like going on. It's like, dude, like, what the fuck? And it's just, I mean, it's really scary to think that these kids are really all alone because their parents can't help them, because the fucking parents, like, while it's never really brought up to, which is honestly very wise, I think, that it's never really brought to the attention to the parents or anything, and obviously they can't bring it up because these kids are smart. And honestly, like, these kids, like, obviously you've got fucking Finn Wolfhard in a group like this when he's already used to a group like this from Stranger Things. So like this group reminds me of just a little bit larger group of kids that we could get, like, you know, in a show like Stranger Things. Like, that's kind of like, I kind of feel like the resemblance of like the intelligence that goes around this group. Like, it's kind of hard. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, this is like watching fucking Stranger Things, just with them seeing like them shoot the shit. I will say, I think Stranger Things does it a little bit better, but I do like the dynamic, you know, with all of them, especially like you were saying with Richie and Eddie, especially when they're at Eddie's house. And he's like, what are these, birth control pills? Yeah, I'm saving them for your sister.
It's so funny. And like, you're talking about like bringing it up to the parents, and they can't. And also though, whenever in Bev's bathroom, when there's blood everywhere, the dad can't see it. So even if they were to try to bring it up, they cannot see what is actually going on. It's only the kids, which I think again is so smart, because he walks in and he's like, what's like wrong? And she is drenched in blood, and there's blood all over this bathroom, and she's like freaking the fuck out, and he's just like, what? But then she brings over the kids, and they're like, no, we see it. Like, yeah, we see it, which I think is just so cool, because like you said, like, this isn't about the parents. The parents cannot help at all, which is what I love in movies like this, because most of the time the parents don't believe really what's going on. The only thing I would say is different is Stranger Things, because the parents know about like what's actually happening. But in most movies, it's just the kids defending themselves, which I think is also. Before we continue, can I show off my It collection of Funko Pops?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, it's kind of odd because I never show off my Funko Pops because they sit in my living room. I have, which my brother ruined the box, which makes me upset. But I do have Georgie and Pennywise in the
that's
series,
cool.
which I freaking love. Ben, of course.
Gotta love Ben.
Richie,
my
favorite. Eddie, another favorite with his little cast. So cute. Oh, shit. Pennywise, I love Derry Balloon. Bev, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one that I don't have of the group is I don't have Georgie just by himself. Spider Pennywise. This is from It Chapter 2. Skateboard Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
Which I pretty much got almost every variation that I could find. We have Stan. Poor little guy. We have, of course, Mike. Got his little belt on with the ammo. And last but not least, I have this big old boy.
Wow, you really do have quite a collection, huh?
I do. I tried to buy everything that I could. I never found Georgie, and I wanted another one from It Chapter 2's when he has his tongue out, like super long.
Mm-hmm.
I never got that one either, but I have so many of them. So
yeah, that is quite the collection. I actually like that a lot. Wow, you almost have all of them. So
almost.
No, yeah, almost.
Couple more.
Need a couple more. Ashton here says, "What's y'all's favorite scene from the movie?" Mine's Georgie's death scene. Gosh, there are a lot of. I gotta say, I think the one that resonates with me the most in this movie is definitely the scene at Neibolt where the kids encounter Pennywise for the first time. Like, I just love the whole sequence of them walking into that house, and everything is just so frightening, and it's also so exciting because it's like now they're encountering this thing for the very first time. Like, this is pretty much like right before they split up for a little while, like where like it goes into that 2-month period where they don't talk. And I just love like when Pennywise like comes out of the fridge and he's like right in front of Eddie after Eddie, like, yeah, he's like kind of like fixing himself as he
like
stands
turns
up,
right?
And just like the way that he just goes, "Time to float," like, and just his walk up towards him and everything too, is just, it's insane. And I love watching the behind the scenes of that also because it's like, yeah, it's like there's that, and he always just asks like Eddie because like so that was actually all real drool coming out of, I don't know if you know that or not, but that was all real drool coming from Bill Skarsgård's mouth because of the makeup and everything. Like, he couldn't help it. So like Skarsgård, he's like talking in the behind the scenes stuff. He's like, yeah, like I'm like dripping on this kid, and he's just like, and literally he needed to make sure he was okay. And like they would call cut, they would hold it for a few seconds, and they'd like break out of character. And then he was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And then the kid that plays Eddie, he's like, "Love what you're doing.
Yeah,
I love
great
what
work." That's so amazing. I love that
so
because
cool.
He said like he thought he was genuinely terrified.
Yeah.
And then he just cut. He's like, "Love what you're doing, man." Like, that is fucking hilarious. I think my favorite scene is it's when they're like down in like Pennywise's like lair, and it's whenever Richie, I can't fucking remember what he's saying. I'm trying to remember, but it's like you made me. I know it's like you made me walk through shitty water. You made me something. This, I think he calls it like a crackhead house.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And now it's time to kill a fucking clown. Welcome to the Losers Club, asshole. That scene, oh my god. I absolutely love that scene. It is so good.
Yeah, it's like just like literally the whole finale too. Like, I mean, I gotta say, just like everything with like Pennywise, just like again at the end, it's he's playing Georgie, and then it's like when he just like starts like shaking, and just like everything just like starts like coming out, like you're just like, oh shit. So I do really like that a lot. But yeah, the whole, really, it's hard to pinpoint a very good scene in this movie because I pretty much like watching them all. So
And like, there's so many good lines. Like during the Rock War, I love the Rock War. Even though, like, yeah, those kids would definitely be in the hospital. I feel like in the miniseries, it's more realistic. This one, it's more for a movie, which I don't care. I think it's fucking hilarious. The one of the bullies is like, "Fuck you, bitch," and gets hit right in the face. And then at the very end, when he's like, "Go blow your dad, you mullet wearing asshole." So fucking good.
I
It is
know.
so good. Finn Wolfhard is fucking amazing in this.
Yeah, I will say I forgot how long it actually took Mike to get introduced to the Losers Club because he didn't know them. He didn't go to school with them. He just kind of like works a job with his granddad and who is very tough on him. Like we get introduced to him as soon as we get introduced to the main town of Derry. And I have to shout out the composer. The soundtrack of this movie is awesome. It sounds great. I love the Derry theme, like how like when it starts even after like the creepy opening titles, like, and I love like the turn as
The way
like
it's
it
like
says like
spinning.
it's awesome. Like and then like you get the title reveal, love that, and then it just turns into like it almost kind of like reminds me of like the Jaws soundtrack in terms of like it turning into like a summer fun movie because this movie takes place during the summer. So like the town of Derry is kind of like the town of Amity Island, kind of like how it like gets its own summer theme and everything. Not saying that like it sounds the same, but it just kind of like gets you into that, okay, this is gonna be a fun, exciting summer movie, like that's kind of what I get.
Yeah, like see, like I think this movie is such like a great like rainy day movie, but it's also such a good like warm feeling movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scene when they're in like the quarry and they're all like swimming and stuff, just like I don't know. Every time I watch, I'm like, damn, this just feels like such like the perfect sort of summer day. It just feels like such a good summer day, and I love all the moments in between the kids when there's no shit really going on and they're just having fun and being kids. That's really some of my favorite parts of the movie is just sitting with them and just watching what they're doing. Because again, everyone is so amazing. But it's such like a great rainy day sort of movie, but it's also just a really good summertime movie.
Mm-hmm.
A good summertime rainy day movie.
So really it's good during any time of the day. Like,
Anytime.
you can sit
Literally.
down, you can watch it, you can have some fun. And I mean, like, I find myself chuckling constantly, even like watching it just today, even though I've seen it numerous times. Like when I bought the Blu-ray, oh, I must have watched this like at least 10 times in the first week that I had it.
Yeah.
So it's like it was just kind of like on like repeat, just like in my house, just like pretty much all day. So it made it very nice to just kind of like be able to watch this again and just like kind of it was like a warm welcome back because of like, you've seen this, but it's been a little while. The last time I really watched it was when It Chapter 2 came out like 2 years ago now. 3 years. Fuck
Years.
this. Holy shit. 3 years since It Chapter 2.
God.
Holy shit. Yeah, like I was like, no, that's
No.
2019. That was pre-COVID. Like Jesus.
I remember the first time I ever had a dab, which was at my aunt's house, and we like went back to my house. The first thing I did was I put on this movie. So I was high as hell. And I was like, I gotta watch It Chapter 1 right now. And I remember thinking, man, this movie, I must have been watching it for an hour. It was still the opening. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? But yeah, that was the first on my mind. I was like, I need to put on It Chapter 1 right now. Because like you said, this movie was, anytime like Bailey would be at work, I'd put this on. There's so many Snapchat memories I have where you can see in the TV that I'm watching this movie. Because it was just on. If I was ever off on a weekend, I watched it at least once for so long. And like you said, I think the last time I had seen it was probably 2020, after 2019 came out. And I've only seen 2019, I think, once in theaters and maybe twice after that because it makes me so sad. So I can't watch it that much. But with this one, because it's not really, I mean, Georgie dying is sad. There's some sad shit in it, but it does not make me, I wasn't sobbing like I was in 2019, okay? But this movie is just so, it just feels like a nice hug. It just feels like a warm hug to me. So it was always on. And whenever Maddie and I had watched it, which was probably last month, that was the last time I watched it. And that was the first time since like 2020. like you said, I was still laughing, even though I knew the jokes. I knew it was coming, but it never fails to just bring a smile to my face. It never fails just to make me feel better. No matter what mood I'm in, I will feel better if I watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, same. I mean, I was just, again, I was watching it, and it really is just a story about friendship. And when you watch this movie and you really can feel for the kids and you can really understand where each of them are coming from also. Like, I mean, you've got Bill, who's the clear leader of, the Losers Club. And, they obviously have this name for themselves because they're getting bullied at schools, which let's talk about these bullies, because let me tell you something. These bullies go out of their fucking way to do some shit to these kids. Like, I mean, fucking Henry
He's
Bowers
a psychopath.
is a functioning psychopath. Like, there's no way you can like, he is not your normal bully. He is like somebody that wants to really put physical harm on these kids' life. Like, I mean, look what he fucking does to Ben. I mean, he cuts Ben. He takes a rock and almost fucking like punches Mike before he gets hit in the head with the rock. Like, I mean, and the fact that these kids, like, they stand by and allow him to do this shit. And even Patrick, the one that goes missing in the sewer, like, I mean, it's like, first of all, like, I'm like watching this, I'm like, okay, I understand like that you have to do this because you have to push the story forward, and like Patrick, he goes missing and stuff like in the book and all that shit. But like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, Ben, he's out of your sight. Like, why are you still fucking looking for this kid? Like, why are you working so much harder than you need to? I'm like, they really go to an extent, like, to do this.
And there's that scene whenever Henry's like, he's like, like about to cut, oh my God, Ben, the blonde kid, he kind of was like, are you serious? So you can see he at least has some sort of humanity to him. He doesn't want to fucking actually maybe beat the crap out of him, but he doesn't want to fucking cut or carve his initials into his stomach. But that's like the only sort of, any sort of humanity that any of these characters have, because they all fucking suck. And I love Patrick's death scene. We don't really see it, just the whole lead up to it, and then the balloon, and then just pops.
Yeah.
And Pennywise is right there. It's amazing. And I love the sewers, because I feel like the sewers themselves, they almost have like a personality of their own, because the sewers are such a big, like, plot point of just it in general, because Pennywise lives in the sewers. And I remember growing up because I was terrified of clowns as a kid. And I remember whenever we lived in like subdivision, like a cul-de-sac, and there was this like whatever Pennywise pops out of in the beginning, the little gutter part. I remember like walking by him every time and be like, I know he's down there. I was fucking scared of these because of the original It. But I was so fucking scared of the sewers because of Pennywise. And I feel like it definitely has its own sort of personality. Like, when you're down there, it's nothing good. It just feels so dark, obviously, because it's dark down there. But it just feels so cold and just nasty. It just has its own little personality, which I love.
Yeah, actually, right outside my place right now, they have a sewer like where you can like see like actually like underneath and stuff. And the other day, my sister, she asked me, she was like, "Hey, can you come take some like just pictures of me for Instagram?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So like literally, I walked outside. She was outside, and like she goes over like by the sewer area, and like even like my foot is like on the street. And I can't help but think that, like, fuck, like, Pennywise he could just, like, reach out and just, like, grab me.
One time I had a soccer ball, and it got stuck in between that part, and I was like, it's not mine, it's yours now, buddy. He's like, I don't need it. I'm not playing soccer. This was my sign to not play soccer. And I was like, it's all yours.
Yeah.
And I never got it back. Lost that soccer ball.
I mean, I will say there's also like the funny TikToks and stuff that like go on now, like where like people actually go out of their way to get in the fucking sewer or whatever. Like, and
First of all,
like there's the one like where the kids are like walking by and they're like, hey, the clown's like, "Hey, you want some drugs?" or something like that. It does kind of make it funny.
Do you remember when people were tying red balloons to those? I would see a bunch of pictures of people like going out there and putting like a single balloon from the sewer, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I do remember seeing some of those, like where they would tie the balloon and everything.
Or
like,
the clown incident of 2016.
dude, those are coming back. Actually, those are actually. So the other day, I fucking seriously just saw a TikTok, and there was a fucking clown on someone's side of their house, like actually creeping on the side of their house, and then. The even scarier thing is like it's like this thing knew that they were fucking filming them, and it turned like towards the window and started coming up towards the window. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna. I would start blasting through my fucking window. You do that, you come up to my window. I'm like, you come up to my window, it's over with. I will blow you into next year, like in the wrong way, in the worst way possible.
I will blow you. It will be the best night of your life.
I know I probably shouldn't have like started it like that.
No, that was good. That was good. One time I was with my mom and we were in the car, and someone drove past us, and they were wearing a clown mask, and that's the only clown I ever saw. And both of us looked at each other. We're like, "Did we just see? Like, is that what that was?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" That was the only. I remember being in high school, and we had a lockdown because there was a rumor going around that a bunch of clowns were going to show up to our school, and our school went into fucking lockdown. And I was like, I can't see the clowns. I can't see the clowns because I was still a little bit scared of them. Now, not so, that would scare me. If someone's outside my house wearing one, yeah. If I just see a clown, just all willy nilly, I don't care. But if someone's like trying to freak me out as a clown, yeah, it's gonna be really scary.
Yeah. No, I mean that whole incident. Like, and I will say. They were a year too soon, like because it came out in 2017. So it was like they were a year early with that. I mean, it would have been even scarier had it have happened in 2017 when it came out, because like I feel like it would have been more relevant, and I feel like that it might have made a lot more people afraid of clowns. Actually, my college campus had like one of the clowns, and we had at one point. So they actually also had a Twitter. So they actually announced saying that they were going to be showing up on campus that night, and like 300 fucking students were on campus searching for this fucking. I'm like, this is the pinnacle of the start of a slasher in like. I'm just like, this is all like this is how dumb teenagers are and college students are. They're like, oh, a clown's going to be on campus. We gotta fucking see him. So he tweets. So he says he's going to show up on campus around 9:00. He tweets. And says, what are y'all too chicken to come over to the Benue Woods or whatever? So we had a forest on campus and everything. So the cops fucking knew about this. So the security and everything, like, and our police station was actually a real police station on campus. And like, literally, all these kids are running towards the woods. They all have flashlights. You just see a lot of kids. I'm like, well, so everyone that's up front right now, all of you would be the first people to die. And then the cops, like, they took their car and they started driving it down the road. They had the big flashlight shining. It was like a scene out of a fucking movie. Like, they were all searching for this fucking clown. I'm like, this is insane. It was nuts. I was like, I've never seen something like this. And I'm like, here I am just like, this is just one of the fucking students that are like, it definitely was. Because then there was a tweet that came out around like, I think it was 9:45. There was a tweet on the Benue Clown like account. It said, "This is the Benue police. We have the clown in custody. Anyone following this account will be arrested and prosecuted at the highest form of law." And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
For following the clown?
I'm like, you can't do that.
You can't do that. That's not legal.
I'm like, I don't know much about the law, but I know that you can't do that for following. Like, can you imagine like getting arrested for that? Like you get a cellmate. Like, what are you in for? I was following a clown.
Followed a clown on Twitter. He's like, I murdered someone. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, you're like, well, fuck.
Well, fuck me, right?
I'm like, how do I?
That's so crazy.
I'd be like, how do I become friends with you so you don't want to murder me?
Literally, we got so sidetracked. But the clown incident of 2016 was insane. I remember like being on Twitter, being like, what the fuck's going on? what the hell's going on, looking for all these pictures. And I would get pretty freaked out. It's like, I better not see a clown just chilling somewhere. That's going to scare the fuck out of me.
Well, I mean, some of them actually pulled up to the wrong car, too. Like, one of them, like, started running towards the car, and people actually, like, pulled out, like, a fucking gun, and they were, like, pointing it at it. It's like, yeah, bitch, you want to fucking try? Try.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Do it.
Like, it's not worth it.
It's really not.
Worth dressing up as a clown and scaring people. It's not worth it.
Yeah, so, like,
unless it's a haunted house.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's obviously different, but yeah, like, you fucking start doing shit like that, and I mean, you're almost asking to get fucked, especially in today's day and age, you're asking to die. Like, I mean, you must have a death wish or some shit, man. Like, that's all I gotta say. So, yeah, now let's get back to talking about our good friend, Pennywise, the dancing clown. So Pennywise, the dancing clown, the one that we discussed in the movie It. So, yeah, I love really every scene with Pennywise. Like, I would consider this movie kind of a slow burn. It's got a really strong opening, and then it kind of like has to progressively build up. And I love the look of Neibolt in this movie. The house on Neibolt, like in the miniseries, it just kind of looks like an ordinary house. Here, they went out of their way to make it look like an actual spook house. And I like how there's like the sewer, it all leads to Neibolt Street. And we haven't even talked about that scene yet, because the scene when the kids are looking at the map of like Derry and Old Derry and all that shit, like it's all leading up as they're talking about, you know, what do you call it? Leading up to, like, they're reading about the history, and they're reading about all of, like, just everything that has to do with Old Derry and New Derry. And then when they all get together and they put in the old, like, archives and shit, that's actually also the scene. That was the first that they ever saw Pennywise, like, in full makeup. And Andy Muschietti, which I haven't even talked about him yet, because his direction in this movie is fucking outstanding. I think the way that he directs this movie, prior to this, he directed the 2013 film Mama. Yeah, like, and I mean, which is a pretty good movie. Guillermo del Toro. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong again. I always say that. I always say his first name wrong. But he produced it. And so I was so glad to see after that he got an opportunity like this. And I'm glad to know that him and his sister, Barbara Muschietti, are also continuing to produce. And I'm pretty sure he's directing the pilot episode too. So I'm excited to see what he does with now moving forward with this prequel series to Pennywise. So, but yeah, I just got to say his direction is outstanding. And I thought it was very wise for him as the director to say, you kids don't get to see this clown until you have a scene with him. And I actually like how they didn't actually have, well, they actually did, because in that scene, it's like he pops out of like the screen and everything, which is fucking terrifying.
That's funny you say that, because anytime Bailey and I would watch this movie, when it comes to that scene, when he pops out, he will not watch that scene. He'll look away because he's like, that scares me too much. And I was just like, really? It's like, I never thought it was, I just kind of liked it. And whenever Bev's like, turn it off. And then it stops for a second and then just right into it. And they're all screaming. Oh, and I think as Richie, it's like, what the fuck is that? That, again, hilarious.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's one of the only scenes in the movie that, like, really got me to jump. Like, it is actually the only scene in the movie that really got me to fucking jump.
There's one scene in the theater that I fucking jumped out of my chair. And it's with Richie whenever he is in the room of the dolls and he gets, like, shut in there. And it's all the dolls. And when he, like, opens the casket and then Pennywise jumps down and shuts it, that scene right there, out of my seat. Yeah. That really and I knew there was a scare coming. You know, you can feel it, but that one really got me.
Yeah, like, I mean, and the whole scene too, it's like he's like walking up, like, I also love his reaction, like how it's like it's him in that coffin, but he's like, ugh, and just shuts it. And then Pennywise, he's like, beep, beep, Richie. And then like, just so good. The whole thing is, God, I wish that I can like go back and just like see this in the theater for the first time again. Cause it truly was like one of my favorite theater experiences of the entire year. I think that the cast of this movie is great. I think Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, like he's not even, and that it says a lot when the villain that you're there to see the most, the clown, is not even the biggest show stealer. It's like he's a show stealer. Like every time he's on frame and he's owning every bit of that frame. But these kids, it's like I can't pinpoint one that's stronger than the other. Like they're all so good. They have such good dynamic. You could tell that they all really took the opportunity and the time to get close with each other so that they were able to form this chemistry. I love, oh my God, like it just like it makes my heart feel warm every time Ben meets Beverly for the first time. Like, you know, and it's just the new kids on the block. And then like when she's like, let me sign this, and she opens his yearbook and there's no signatures in there.
And like
I'm
her
just like,
face, like the way it kind of
yeah.
It's amazing. And it's such a small part, but it's like the way her face kind of like, she like takes a second, she like realizes no one else does, and she signs it with all the hearts. And he's like, like, don't go, girl. Because that's like a song by them.
Yeah.
And he goes, like, his head, everything's like falling apart, but he's like still so happy. And the moment when they go back to his house and closes the door and he has a poster and him and Bev are like looking at each other, and he's like, and she just like opens it back up. It's so fucking sweet. It is sweet.
It is. And it like at first, like even when he wrote her the poem and like gave her the card, it was like I was wondering like if Bev actually thought for a second that it was Ben, but then when they came over the next day, she is talking to Bill and she's like January Embers, and then Bill says I'm not really into poetry.
I was like, was that a line from the play?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not really into poetry, and she kind of like takes
she's
a
like,
second. She's like, wait, what?
Yeah, she's like, oh, so who can it be? And we don't really find out what she doesn't find out until chapter 2 that it was actually Ben. Like,
okay, not to spoil anything for chapter 2. That scene is my favorite fucking scene of the movie. I have watched that on repeat so many times whenever she's like drowning in the blood and he's like being buried, and when she kicks it and it like flips and now they're looking in the theater, I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. That was so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a good scene. Like, I mean, and I'm in for whatever this guy wants to do. I mean, it is unfortunate. Now, I'm going to just kind of like say something about Andy Muschietti, the director of it. It's unfortunate because he's such a great guy and such a great director. And he's currently directing this fucking Flash movie that's up and coming. But the fucking main actor of the Flash just keeps getting fucking arrested for dumb shit. Like, he just got arrested for a fucking breaking and entering and fucking... He just got arrested. Oh, he goes by they?
They go by they.
Oh, well, sorry. Like, I didn't know that that they went by they. You know, I can't say anything we might as well just shut it down because, like, I can't say anything.
They go by they.
Okay,
does not mean that Ezra Miller's not dumb, though.
Okay, gotcha. So they just fucking broke and entered into a fucking home in Virginia. For why? Like,
for why?
I mean, I'm just like sitting here. And it really does show. It's like they really think just because they're fucking stars of shit that they can just do whatever the fuck they want. Like, no, you still have to abide by some shit, and
you have to not like kidnap and assault and break and enter and
right. But
show up every fucking where.
And now Andy Muschietti's name is on this, and I will never, ever, whatever is wrong with that movie, I will never blame him because I know that he's only there to do a job that he gets hired for, and because I love his work, and I think that he did a really great job on these 2 movies. So, yeah, but I agree with you that scene in chapter 2 is absolutely just the way it's shot, the way that everything is like everything in that scene is aligning properly because it looks so great. So
it's just, and the blood is like falling down. It's just such a good fucking scene. I love that scene in it chapter 2. It is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, the whole thing is great, and I mean, like I will say though, I will say chapter 1, this one is immensely better than chapter 2. While I mean, whenever we get to talking about it, chapter 2, then I'll give my full thoughts on that. But I mean, I do think that this one is like my sister. She was the opposite. She was like, it chapter 2 is like it was better than the first one, and I was just kind of like, no, it wasn't.
I
No,
disagree.
I was
But,
like, I disagree.
I give this one like a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I give it chapter 2 wait, did I say 3.5 or 4.5?
You said 3.5 for this one.
I'm at 4.5. Whoa. I give it chapter 1 a 4.5.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say anything. But
Really, like a 4.75 because I think this is almost just because like I love it so much. I gave it chapter 2 a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Some of that is just because it's the continuation of a movie I love so much. And I saw a comment saying like I think it was Brandon that said it, like when he was in the theater, like it felt like I don't know, like a closing out of like the story, or like a closing out of, where's the comment at? Well, oh, I don't fucking know.
Which one?
Anyways, it was Brandon. He said something like when he was in the theater for 2019. I can't see his comment. Oh, right here. Watching it chapter 2 in the theater felt like the end of a long journey for me, with the history I had with the story and its characters and movies as well. That's exactly. I felt just such like this like immense love and just like appreciation for it chapter 1, and like going into it chapter 2, I was like not ready for it because I knew I know how like the movie opens because I read that part in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered that from the miniseries, and I was like, fuck, like I'm not ready to lose any of these characters. And I hate when you go in, that's how I went in with Scream 5, with Stranger Things Volume 2. I hate that feeling of like going into a movie or a show where you're about to lose a character you love and you just don't want it to happen, and it still fucking happens. But leaving the theater for it chapter 2, my boss was actually there just watching it. And I walked out and she saw me and I'm sobbing. Tears everywhere, makeup running. I'm a hot mess. And she was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "Girl, did we not just watch the same movie? Are you kidding me?" I was like, Did you see what just happened in there? I can't even, I would listen to Stan's letter at work and I would just start crying. If I listen to it now, I'll start crying because it just makes me so sad.
Yeah,
It makes
I
me
mean,
so sad.
yeah, it really is a movie, and again, that movie is also very much like a friendship broken, spread apart, all coming back together to reflect and defeat something that they all went through when they were kids. And like, but it's also like in this movie, it's like when they fucking beat Pennywise in this film, like it's awesome, like just to see like this epic conclusion that like they have like when they're kids, and they all like make that pact at the end, like saying that if it is in dead, and obviously I remember I had chills when I saw the end of chapter 1 because I was like, yo, we're just getting fucking started.
Literally.
And I'm like, if it takes 27 years for it to come out, I will be pissed. No, but it only took a couple years, and like, I mean, but it was well worth the wait. But yeah, chapter 1, I just remember getting so antsy and so excited. And I mean, like after the success that it had at the box office, like holy shit. I mean, this movie made so much money in its opening weekend. Like, I mean, it would have been stupid to hold off on that. If like we still didn't have chapter 2 today, I feel like it would have just been like, wasted and everything. So like, I think they
huge.
Yeah, they recognize that they needed to keep it relevant. I mean, and that whole next week, I was already speculating. Like, I was like sitting there like, who's gonna play Bill? Who's gonna play this? Like, at one point, I think Chris Pratt was being eyed to play Ben as an adult.
Yeah.
So, but the guy that does play him in chapter 2 looks so much more like Ben, so I mean, everybody, and I'll definitely mention that again whenever we talk about it. But yeah, like, just what a
The only
fucking
person that I was like, I don't know, was Jessica Chastain. What she does amazing, don't get me wrong. But she doesn't look like Bev. Just because they have red hair doesn't mean they look the same,
yeah.
Bev has much more of a rounder face, and Jessica Chastain does not. She has much more of I don't know.
I mean, to be fair though, your face could get sharper as you get older
mine
and stuff.
did, but I still don't have a fucking face.
Yeah.
I still have my face is still round. So I think maybe I think it was Amy Adams.
Yeah,
I think she looked pretty similar to her. I feel like she would have done, which I still think Jessica Chastain is great. They worked with her already in Mama, so it makes sense as to why they would put her in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's so great, but when she was announced, I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
My favorite one was definitely Bill Hader. Bill Hader, the guy that plays older Eddie, even though he's kind of a piece of shit in real life, so is Kid Eddie, which genuinely breaks my fucking heart. So I found out some stuff about him recently, and I was like, how dare you, first of all, little Eddie, how fucking dare you? Anyways, I think older Eddie, Bill Hader, and then older Stan, those are my favorite castings. Because I felt like they were spot on, especially older Eddie. That scene where it's younger Eddie and it transitions to older Eddie in chapter 2, I was like, fuck. This is incredible. So I think for the most part, I would say for 90% of the older casting, I think it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really.
No, I definitely agree. And I mean, I was also glad to see that the young kids that we got in this movie also were they were back and stuff. And yeah, but I just think that both of these movies are fantastic. I think that honestly, if you want to, we can do next week. We can kind of do what we do when we do stuff like this, so we don't always just talk the same thing. If we wanted to do it chapter 2 to in the middle of September, we can do that. So next week we'll do something else and then do it chapter 2 in a few weeks from now. I would actually really like to sit down and watch that again too. So
I need to.
I'm sitting here talking about this movie and just how much fun I was having watching it this afternoon a little bit, and I definitely need to watch chapter 2 again also. I've only seen chapter 2 a couple times though, so because it is long, so it's
2.5 hours.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah,
2 hours and 45 minutes. That's
a long time.
And that's cut down. That's it. Cut. That's the final cut of the movie.
Which honestly, I could watch hours. I could, if they were to put this all together in a full fucking version, I would watch all of it.
Yeah, no, I mean it really is, at the end of the day, it's a 5.5 hour epic of this coming of age story and the final defeat of Pennywise. I mean, I really think that I love both of these movies. And again, the only problem that I really have with it, chapter 1, is just the CGI, and that's it. There's not one performance, even the small performances, even the pharmacist, him,
you can be my Lois Lane.
Even his scene, when she had to help the kids, when they needed the supplies to fix up Eddie, which, yeah, obviously she was going to do that. She didn't know who the fuck needed fixing up, but I mean, literally she walks up and she's like, "Can I try them on?" He goes, "Oh, sure. How about that? You look just like Lois Lane." And I'm just like,
He's disgusting. He's so fucking But I do love that scene when it pans over to her and she's standing in front of all the pads and tampons and she's just looking around. I'm like, girl, I feel you there, because it is overwhelming. There's so many options. You're like,
yeah.
And she's doing this on her own. And her dad is a piece of shit. When she hits her dad, Fuck yes. So good, because he's a disgusting man.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, like, each character is kind of, like, dealing with their own shit, and unfortunately hers is that she lives with a fucking touchy dad, which is just so wrong. And, like, the whole, like, movie, you know, it's like, are you still my little girl? Fuck you. Everyone's calling her a slut for something I'm sure she didn't do, because it was fucking Henry kind of saying, you know, she did all this stuff to me, blah, blah, blah. But she's just being called a slut and sexualized, and all the old men just are fucking, like, creepy towards her. And she's like, what, 12? 13?
Yeah.
She's just living her life. She's not doing anything.
I know. Like the whole thing of, like, her home life and just, like, everything about that it's so disturbing. And I'll tell you what's even more disturbing. If y'all have read the book, you guys know the scene I'm talking about. Y'all know the scene
Stephen
that I'm
King,
talking
sir.
about. Stephen King. Yeah, makes me. He is my favorite writer. I say that, but I question some of his scenes and his imaginative vivids that he goes through when I'm reading some of his shit. Like, I'm just kind of like, So there's a, for those of you that don't know, there's a scene in the book where Beverly decides to please all of her loser friends after they defeat Pennywise when they're kids by pretty much
bond them together.
To bond all of them together. It's like kind of like that's supposed to be the transition from boyhood into manhood. So she pretty much lets all. It's like a child gangbang, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, and it's disturbing. Like, I had to actually, like, kind of, like, flip through to see when this thing fucking ended. I was like, how much do I have to read of this, and do I need to read any more of this? Because it's just it's like a 10 to 15 page description of what these kids do to her and what she allows them to do to her. I was very happy to know that was excluded from this movie.
Of course.
So, you know,
and
like,
so we got the blood, the cutting of the hand instead.
Yeah,
which
I'll take that. That all
still not sanitary.
Yeah,
this was the 80s, but you know, I'd rather that than a fucking gangbang.
Yeah,
that's definitely questionable. That's like, sir.
Yeah, that's what? That's like a yo. What was going on in your head while you were writing that? I mean, like, is this like imagine writing that. Imagine writing a scene with that much description for something like that. Like, again, I love Stephen King and he's my favorite writer, but that was a bit much, sir. And it's a great book and it's a fantastic book, obviously. So, you know, but
imagine being the first person to read that.
Yeah.
Like his publisher, and he's like, wait, come on now. You can't be serious, right?
Fucking got published. So
it did.
So there's that. It's out there. It's out into the world now. But yeah, I was very ecstatic to know that was cut from the movie, because like as soon as like we got to the end, I'm like, there's no way. I know that the movie's rated R, but I'm like, there's no. I was like, there's no shot that I'm like, there's no way that they're gonna show this like at all.
That would not have been made. That would no. They were like, no.
Yeah, it's like
anything else.
It literally is like you have such a great movie, great. Oh my god, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Like,
what the fuck is this?
I mean, like, I feel like that would be like, I probably, if there was a world to where that existed, I probably would have felt exactly like I did while watching the very exotic Midsummer scene, like just sinking in my seat, just kind of like, you know. But yeah.
Y'all seeing this?
Yeah.
I would have just left.
Yeah. Like that would have been just a bit too much. But yeah, no, at the end of the day, I mean, I really enjoy it. I think it's a great film. I think that everyone's performances is amazing, and Bill Skarsgård is fantastic as Pennywise. Want to give some love to Tim Curry too, because I did really enjoy Tim Curry growing up. As much as I don't really I like the first half of the miniseries.
Second half.
The second half is just hard to get through. It is painful to get through. So
And that
yeah,
ending,
yeah, the ending is just so weird. Like
and whenever like I think it's one of the boys gets like sucked up into the thing, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I remember watching that in its entirety because we would watch it as a kid, but I only ever remember seeing like the first part. I never watched the second part as a kid. And then one day I was like in high school and I was like home alone. And I was like, damn, like 4.5 hours? Okay. And I watched it and I was like watching towards the end. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? Because like I
yeah,
remember being terrified of that first half and just of Pennywise. But I don't know. Watching it as I was like a little bit older, I was like, oh, this isn't that good.
yeah,
First half though is still pretty good. I think this one though blows it out of the water. I prefer
yeah.
it 2017 and 2019 at any day over
Same.
the miniseries.
Yeah. No, I mean same. Like, and again, Tim Curry, I do love Tim Curry in that role.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
just overall, I think that just the story and the way it's presented, I definitely think that these two movies do it immensely better than the miniseries did. So,
Yeah.
you know, I love this movie. I can watch it over and over again and have fun with it. And you know, I definitely want to introduce this movie to people, you know, that maybe haven't seen it yet, just to
Mm-hmm.
see their reaction to the beginning. Like maybe they don't know. Like I really want to try and get Abby to sit down and watch it and see what her reaction would be to like right in the beginning to see what she would think. She'd probably make me shut it off.
Yeah.
But like I don't even know if I'd be able to do any convincing. I don't even know if I'd be able to but like it's like actually got like, you know, a story to it and the characters are likable and everything because like she like watches all of like this reality TV. Like she watches like that Claim to Fame on Hulu right now is like a big one that she's watching. The Bachelorettes, which apparently they're doing too. I just watched that with her last night. Like, you know. So yeah. I know.
Great story, great characters.
Are you talking about the Bachelorettes?
No, this movie. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I don't watch reality TV.
Oh my god! I'll tell you I will say that's the only reality show that I've gotten sucked into watching with my family from time to time, and it's literally a show where somebody goes on. They're either the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, and they've got a whole group of either boys or girls that you know wants to like that they're out searching for love, and I'm like, there's no way that they fall in love that quickly. Like, there's no way.
Here's my thing. I'm not competing. I am not competing to convince someone to love me. I don't care if it's a show. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That is mind-blowing that things like that exist. It's like, no.
Yeah.
You can meet people everywhere. And you want to go on TV to find your one true love when most of them get divorced like months after. Like, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, and now for the first time ever, they've got it's called the Bachelorettes. There's two. So there's two chances at finding love. And here's the catch. Where the drama actually picks up, and I caught on to this last night. Like this isn't something that you have to like watch like all the way through. You can just watch as it unfolds. But literally, like you just like watch as like how everything unfolds, and it's like, you know, one of them was trying to give a guy a rose, and they're like, oh, I was actually here for the other one. And like that's like where the drama is like, yeah, I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know, and then like 3 guys like rejected this one girl because they said they were here for the other one. I was like, God damn.
Oh my god.
So
wait, did you ever watch Bad Girls Club?
No, I haven't actually.
I did watch that whenever I was younger.
Is that a reality show?
That was, yes.
Yeah.
That one was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was just a bunch of crazy girls in the house living.
Wow.
I mean, they would argue, and you couldn't fight. Like you can't fight. Like you can't put your hands, like you can't punch because then you get kicked off. Like that's when you're like, no. but they would always argue, and they would do, it was like Jersey Shore kind of, like, where they just, like, drink and party and have fun, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no real competition, I don't think. At least I don't remember. It was just girls living in the house together, going wild.
Interesting.
Project
Again.
Runway? You ever watch Project Runway?
Mm-mm.
I was obsessed with that shit. It was just like a fashion show. Like, they're competing to become, like, the next big designer. That was pretty good. But, if you like shit like that.
Yeah, Brandon says the only reality show I watched as a kid was Fear Factor. I do remember Fear Factor. I do remember that. That was actually, I did enjoy Fear Factor a lot.
I did like Fear Factor.
It was crazy though. Like that was some crazy ass shit that
Absolutely
they did. But Fear Factor was definitely one that I watched. But again, sidetracked. But hey, we've been done talking about it for a little while here. But yeah. Destiny, what do you have coming up this week on anything? What are you doing?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I don't think anything, but I honestly am not sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna say nothing. I'm trying to look at my journal really quick because I feel like I do have something, but I can't remember.
Oh, Golfer's Dogs asked if Jackass counts as reality TV. I think those were all pre-recorded. Were those not? Well, so is the. No, okay, I'm a fucking idiot. So yeah, I would honestly count Jackass as reality because they're actually doing these stunts, and because the fucking Bachelorette's all pre-recorded before it, like that's not live stuff. So yeah. I would count that as reality. So I did watch Jackass too. So I watched like the movies and everything. But yeah, I would definitely consider that live.
Yeah. So next Monday, so on the 5th, I will be doing a live stream with Matt on Matt's channel. That's what I have coming up. But besides that, nothing.
Oh yeah. You're doing the Halloween H2O kill ranking with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, me, well, apparently I did a poll and people actually missed my kill rankings and stuff, so that's pretty much what the better half of my weeks are going to be. And I had some of those so for whoever's here that watched those, my videos got flagged for fucking copyright or whatever, like days after that they were fucking posted. So I took them down, and takes a lot of work to do stuff like that. So, and I don't want to cause any copyright shit on my channel. So I try to avoid that. Honestly, I'm shocked that it also makes me nervous because when I do my reviews, I do use clips of the movie to showcase over it. I'm always mindful as to how long it plays and everything. So yeah, I think, what do you call it? Golfer's Doc says, you did a poll or you did a poll? I did a survey, so a poll, what you post in the community section. So yeah, they what do you call it? They were flagged, so I'm gonna be redoing some of those, and they're not gonna be as sexy, I'll tell you that. I'm not gonna do too much to it. So I'll just kind of jump on and be like, you know what? This is how I fucking rank everything. I'm just gonna shoot it to you guys straight. That's how I'm gonna do it. Can't flag copyright when nothing on there is yeah.
What you should do.
Get
a stripper pole. Do your rankings while dancing on the pole in the Myers mask.
Dude, that might go viral. I'm not gonna lie. That might be it.
You're welcome. Free idea.
I was actually like thinking like because I was talking about how like James Gunn does like all these like really fun openings to his TV shows and movies. Like with Guardians of the Galaxy, he does the dances, and in the shows he does the dance. Like he does the Peacemaker dance and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like talking to Abby with that on the way here, and she was like, maybe you should do something like that for like your YouTube channel. Like your new opening should be like a fun like type. I'm like that would be interesting, huh?
Go for it.
So no, I'm not. I don't know if I can do something like that. Like maybe at 1 million, maybe at 1 million subs. Like if I ever get there.
Nothing unreasonable. Just 1 million.
Just 1 million, or maybe if I get to like 50K or something like that. Maybe
I think that's better.
There you go, 50,000. If I ever did 50,000, I would try and do like a craft. I would craft a new opening and all that shit. So. Yeah, but everyone just look out for the kill rankings. I'm going to be fucking popping those out. Like, I'm going to try and pop 2 of them out tomorrow, then 2 out on Friday so I can get caught up here and do the H2O one next week. So,
Misael said, not with that attitude, Braden.
Misael, buddy, what's up? How you doing? But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what we got coming up. I'm out of things to say.
Why are these called teeth on a comb?
Why?
Why? I don't know.
I thought that you were about to have the answer for me.
No, I just think that's weird that you would call them teeth.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
I'm not going to though, but I want to.
That is definitely odd. Okay, so yeah, guys, with all that being said, next week, don't really know what we're covering next week yet, but we'll make an announcement or something. In 2 weeks from now, we know that we're covering It Chapter 2, so be here for that, and then next week we'll have something announced shortly. But with all that being said, post comments down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys are listening to us live on Spotify and Apple, make sure that you guys join us every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. It's actually now transitioning to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, just due to my time zone switch and everything. Actually, we might actually be able to do 7 o'clock your time because I think Wednesdays I'm working from home. So I should be able to just jump right on. So I'll talk to you about that off stream. But yeah, guys, make sure you guys tune in to everything that's up and coming. Look forward to more videos very soon. And guys, we're getting close. We're like 215 subs away from 10,000. So be sure to click that subscribe button and join this channel on its journey to 10,000 subscribers. And we will see you guys next week on Fear Freaks. Have a great rest of your week, everyone.